You're listening to the Spark Radio Network, internet radio like you've never heard before. Innovation, creativity, and imagination are all said to begin with a spark. So fasten your seatbelt and take the ride of your life and listen for the spark.
In these uncertain economic times, you've got to do whatever you can to save money. One of our biggest expenses can be our cars, especially when unexpected repair bills hit. Not anymore. If you own a vehicle with less than 130,000 miles, is less than 12 years old, has a warranty about to expire, or even no warranty at all, you could stop paying for car repairs. Roadside assistance, towing, and rental coverage are all included. Don't wait for the next repair. Make one free call right now to see if you qualify. If your vehicle is less than 12 years old, has less than 130,000 miles, even if it's out of warranty, paying for car repairs can become a thing of the past. Call us right now and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Get protection and no more repair bills. Call 800-696-1030. Again, 800-696-1030. That's 800-696-1030. 800-696-1030.
Joe had huge problems with the IRS.
I knew it was coming. I hadn't filed taxes since 1990.
All the IRS letters coming in added up to a nightmare.
It got up to like $68,000. My heart started beating fast. It's like, there's no way, man. I mean, I ain't going to be able to do this.
Then they stopped his paycheck.
So that's when I started making phone calls and found U.S. Tax Shield.
U.S. Tax Shield went to work immediately.
They just took the bull by the horns. What blew my mind is he called the IRS right then and there.
So why is U.S. Tax Shield A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau? Joe knows.
They saved me a ridiculous amount of money.
If you owe more than $10,000 to the IRS or state, choose the company Joe chose, U.S. Tax Shield.
It was the best decision I made. U.S. Tax Shield is the way to go. Life is good. Thank you, Lord.
Call 800-471-3287.
U.S. Tax Shield. Boo-rah. Yes.
800-471-3287. 800-471-3287.
The internet will never be the same. You're listening to K98Talk.com.
Whoa! Good God, y'all. What is it good for? Absolutely. Let's get started again.
We believe in the American way, and we built this country called the USA, and we fly our flag because we're proud and free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights, we're Americans. We fish the waters and we hunt the lands. We forge the steel with our own two hands. With what we've got, we do the best we can, we're Americans.
It's time now for the Conservative Curmudgeon Radio Show on K98 Talk. Now, here's Grouchy.
Good evening. Glad to be back with you. We took a week off last week to allow a big chunk of the K98 Talk team to be live at CPAC, a trip I did not get to make. I hate that, but hopefully next year we'll get that hammered out and I will be able to join everybody back up there. We got a few things we're going to talk about tonight, but before we do, just want to let everybody know that producing tonight's show is the venerable one, Rowdy Rick Robinson, my brother from another mother, and the boss man at K98. And I've given Rick the switch to just open mic as he sees fit to do tonight. Jump in, make points, counterpoints, add to, detract from, smack my head, do whatever it takes to make the show get along.
I'm glad you said head. Can I just say that?
You're glad I said what?
Glad you said head, because for a second I thought you were going somewhere else with that.
Oh, no, not for less than a 20, my friend.
I'm telling you, you're cheap. You should raise your rates.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm cheap, but I'm not easy.
Sorry.
Anyway, before this goes too far down the the gutter here. We're going to kick tonight off. We're going to talk a little bit about the four primaries last night. Obviously, Trump was a big winner on the Republican side, taking 3 of the 4. Cruz taking the other state. I believe that would have been Utah or Idaho, or
it was Idaho.
Idaho, yeah. If Idaho, I really got to raise my rates. That's what I know. Anyway, the big shocker of the night came in Michigan on the Democratic side of the ticket, where Bernie took it to Hillary in Michigan and beat her. And I mean, if you think that there wasn't a meeting at Hillary headquarters this morning to at least begin shuffling around the ideas of how they're going to cover Bernie's untimely demise, you got another thing coming. Let me tell you, I guarantee you she was livid last night when she left the stage. Absolutely livid.
I don't even think livid would cover it. I'm pretty sure by now they're probably fitting old Bernie for some cement shoes.
You know, I'm betting right now that the cottage cheese on her thighs could crush walnuts. She's so angry.
Oh, now that was a visual I didn't need, and I just ate. Ugh.
Yeah, well, let's just go there, right? I mean, so anyway, while we're on the topic of Bernie, Bernie's got a small little issue here that I want to talk about. And it really is a small issue, and I hate to be nitpicky about it, but, we're crucifying Obama over not calling this what it is, and Bernie won't do it either. So here we get Senator Sanders, the independent from Vermont, was asked if the violence against Christians in the Middle East should be classified as genocide. And Bernie's answer was, quote, "I don't know that we have to put a word on it." Really? And what the hell? I mean, he goes on to say, look, what's happening to Christians in the Middle East in that whole area is horrific. He's right about that. And like I said, this is just a little nitpicky point, but it has some bearing here. What's happening to Muslims is horrific, said Sanders. And this was at the Fox News town hall Monday night. He went on to say, it's disgusting, I don't know that we have to put a word on it, but when you have a group, I mean, what can we say about these people? They are killing children because they are going to school. Girls who are going to school, they're putting girls in sexual slavery. This is barbarism, and we have to destroy ISIS. Okay, so Bernie won't call it genocide, but he will put the word barbarism on it. So, he contradicts himself in his own answer. And this is something that we as conservatives, and I've seen it all over social media, and I hear it at the water cooler talk throughout the places that I go work at. We have really come down on Obama because he will not call radicalized Islamic terrorism exactly what it is. Radicalized Islamic terrorism. He won't do it. Now Bernie won't do this. Do we hold him to the same standard? Is he allowed to waffle because he's a candidate? I say no. And I say he should be put on the spot to classify it for what it is. If he's got the stones to call it barbarism, then he should have the stones to call it what it really is. I mean, like I said, it's a nitpicky point. What do you think, Rick?
I think he's a namby-pamby milquetoast who needs to just break down and call it exactly what it is and say, look, this is exactly what we're saying it is. It's genocide. But the thing about it is nobody on that side wants to admit that. And if you'll notice, he's harder and he uses harsher language when he starts talking about what's happening to the Muslims than he will about what's happening to the Christians. And that's endemic of that whole side of the argument.
Yes, it is. It certainly is. We hear it from Obama. We hear it from Hillary. We hear it from Susan Rice. We hear it from Bernie. We hear it from John Kerry, too.
And the thing about it is, it's revisionist history, because the thing that the left likes to throw up all day, every day is the Muslim stuff was the reaction to the Crusades, and they've got that completely backwards. The Christians finally deciding to lash out in the Crusades were a direct response to the fact that Muslim aggression had gotten to the point where it was actually threatening about 2/3 of the world at that time. Exactly right.
And I think that one of my favorite answers to all that is that we've handled the violence of the Crusades for 800 plus years now. I think we can deal with what's happening today.
Well, you would think, but the thing about it is, when you've got an entire group of people that deal with nothing but emotion, they don't care about the facts. All they care about is how many people can I get outraged today. And you see it in everything that they do, and that's That's
talking about Democrats or Trump fans.
Actually, I was about to segue right into that, because they're basically one and the same.
Okay, man, look at how that works. And no, folks, we have not rehearsed this. We're not that good.
Either that, or we're good enough that we can be on the same wavelength and didn't have to rehearse it. You take it however you want.
I'll take that. So go ahead. Finish your thought there, please.
Well, no, the whole thing is, and the same thing is endemic not only of now the Democratic Party, but the entire Trump movement. Because that is exactly what they do. They're dealing with emotion. Trump has tapped into the anger that everyone has been feeling now for the last 8 years, and some people even longer. But they're reacting in a negative way. And Trump is the indemnification of that negativity, because finally somebody is saying what everybody's thinking in their heads, but we don't need a president that doesn't have the ability to control himself. We've seen that played out time and time again for the last 8 years, and I'm not pulling the lever for a guy just because all of a sudden he's got an R behind his name when he's going to do the same exact things that the guy that we have in office now has been doing, except the only difference is he's supposed to be a conservative. And yes, this is radio, so you can't see the air quotes, but I promise you they're there.
Hey, I get it. I do. So, and let's go ahead and backstep real quick back to the Bernie and Hillary, because we're in agreement on how that works and how people hate Obama or love Trump for the same reasons they hate Obama, and they're just too blinded by the anger to see it. But Sanders is quick to point out that the big difference between he and Hillary when it comes to this is that she voted for the war in the Middle East and he voted against it. So, he's what he's saying is that what we're seeing in a lot of this turmoil and instability is the results from those disastrous votes years ago to authorize that war in the Middle East. And that's kind of unfair, and I almost even hate saying that when it comes to Clinton's decision to vote for that war. It's kind of unfair to her. And man, if you know anything about me out there, you know I am not a Hillary fan. I did a whole 2-hour show on why she should not be president. So trust me when I say I am not a Hillary fan. But we're talking about Congress looking at intelligence reports. We're going back almost 15 years now into GW's term, and we're talking about this vote. They look at the intelligence reports, and Congress was almost. It was not a close vote on authorizing this war. It was a bipartisan decision for sure, based on the intelligence reports. We had 60 other countries that were on board based on the same intelligence reports. For Bernie to bash her over the head for that, I get his point, but it's almost unfair. Almost.
Okay, so back to something you said a second ago about the differences between Bernie and Hillary. I honestly thought about the only difference between Bernie and Hillary was that he looks a little bit better than she does in a dress.
Well, yeah, there is that too. At least when Bernie hikes his skirt up, you can see the garter belts. They're not covered by the rolls.
Or the hair.
Oh, wow. But, you have to understand Bernie's take too, because Bernie doesn't just put the dress on for anybody, you take his words for it. I will not put a dress on for just anyone, But,
nice.
Hey, working on my Bernie, because right now, Bill Clinton's running around somewhere going, man, I hope he gets off and Hillary has to hide for a while because then I'll be free to play. Hey, if y'all see that cute intern in the blue dress, tell her I'll be back in 10. But anyway,
okay, that was an amazing Bill Clinton, actually.
Man, I love me doing some Bill. I really do. But the worst part is I get no respect for it, man. No respect, none at all, I tell you. But you got the King of Jordan, King Abdullah, made a statement a couple of months ago, and he said what's going on there right now is a war for the soul of Islam in the Middle East. And the people who have got the most effective deal in this issue are the Muslim nations themselves. They have to stand up and decide where they're going to let Islam go. Because basically ISIS is telling them, this is Islam. Capitulate or die. Now, it's one thing to say that you don't believe what ISIS believes in the Middle East. But if you're not standing up to stop them, you're useless. And that's where I think Bernie falls short, because these people are a legitimate threat to our safety and security here in the homeland. If they go unchecked in the Middle East, what's to stop them from coming to our shores? We know they want to. In that regard alone, I would, and solely in that regard, I say Sanders misses the point and Hillary actually gets it. And boy, man, these kind of things that I have to talk about these things, but I really hate having to look at these two idiots that are trying to out-free each other with everything they want to give away and tell you that one is better than the other. It just hurts me right through the heart and into my spine. It hurts me to even be talking about this. But it was a slow news cycle, and we had to do something, so we're stuck with it. So anyway, the U.S. State Department faces a March 17th deadline for deciding whether to designate ISIS as perpetrators of genocide. Now, I don't know what's triggering this deadline, but Rick, do you know anything about this?
No, honestly, I hadn't heard anything about it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at this this write-up in the notes here that I have, and it says the State Department faces a March 17th deadline. So if ISIS doesn't get declared a perpetrator of genocide by March 17th, that means it's just not so? I mean, could they just go on a genocidal killing spree after that and everything's okay? I don't get this. But, this is Josh Earnest. So, what can you say? What can you say? He says that designation requires a quote unquote rather precise interpretation of the law, as opposed to just vague interpretations, right? I mean, I've said it before, folks. Did you think it was possible to find a bigger moron than Jay Carney? They did. They really did.
The question is, where did they have to go to find the guy that is actually worse than Jay Carney?
Well, I think that his head was compartmentalized in Carney's backside, and that when Carney ran away so fast, it just popped out, and they realized that there was actually an assistant for Carney there. They just thought it was a huge growth coming out of Carney's backside, I think, until his head was removed by Carney breaking Jesse Owens' land speed record to get out of the administration.
Oh, I wonder how much longer joshing earnestly. I'm surprised he hasn't left yet. I mean, there's only a few months left in the term. I figured he'd bail and be like, yeah, you're about done anyway, I'm out.
I'm thinking that he's probably figuring he's unemployed after this, so he's going to ride it out for as long as he can.
This is true.
So, man, I'd sure love to hear JD's take on that. But anyway.
He's feeling a little under the weather since CPAC, but if you hit him up, maybe he'll come on next week.
Yeah, I don't think it's the weather he's under.
No, actually, he really has been sick.
Oh, has he?
There's actually a pretty common occurrence out that way, and it's actually got a name. It's called the CPAC flu. I don't quite understand what happens, but I guess it's maybe all of those people crammed into tight quarters, some of them coming in when they're not feeling that well. He just happens to be one of the ones that got hit with it, so he hasn't been feeling well for the last couple of days.
So it's not alcohol poisoning then?
No, not this time.
Not this time. All right. Okay. Boom. Here's something to think about. We know how Michigan went last night, okay? We saw how the polls turned. We saw Bernie eke it out. But as Michigan voters went to the poll, the one question that I never saw anybody asking in exit polling data was about government regulations in the state's iconic automotive industry and how they felt about it. See, federal regulations that force ever-increasing automobile fuel economy standards actually cost consumers thousands of dollars more than what they are saving on using less gas. Now, these burdensome regulations also reduce new car purchases. People hold on to their cars longer, pay for repairs, or buy used cars, and therefore it affects auto worker employment extensively. So how much more expensive are the gas mileage gains? Well, here you go. Here's some numbers for you. You know I like to do my homework and come up with the good solid numbers. So our scholars estimate that the new standards that the White House wants would add at least $3,800 to the cost of a car this year, and at least $7,200 to the cost of a car by 2025. Now, that cost takes into effect the money you would save on the gasoline from the higher fuel standards. So we have Empirical Heritage Foundation research that did the homework on this and did the numbers, and they support those estimates. You only get what you pay for, and you have to pay for what you get. Getting cars to meet tighter efficiency standards means destroying and deploying expensive technology instead of using cost-effective engineering. High prices are bad for consumers and bad for auto workers. At higher prices, consumers demand fewer vehicles and automakers hire fewer workers. Thus, fewer workers are employed now than in 2007, despite a drop in wages. Although the regulations may not hurt many corporations as much because they can lay off workers and pass higher costs on to the consumers, consumers and auto workers have been the lab rats of this failed environmentalist experiment for about 6 years now. Now, not only have they been the victims of this failed environmentalist experiment, let's talk about some more bad money going into automotive in the form of anybody? Bueller. That's right. Ethanol and the subsidies that go with it. I've been preaching for years that ethanol is a scam. I stand by it. It's killing car engines faster. It's forcing people to either pay for costly repairs, buy another car long before they should have to. It's killing things like lawn equipment and that kind of machinery. It just absolutely eats those small engines alive. So when you combine all that with, let's just balance it out here. So we're in 2016. You're going to pay $3,800 more for a car just to satisfy Obama's EPA standards on miles per gallon, when we could actually achieve that standard by simply switching off of ethanol and going back to pure gasoline. About 10 to 20% better gas mileage, give or take. So anyway, something to think about. It is what it is.
Not to mention
apparently. What's that, Rick?
Not to mention all the regular gas it actually takes to make ethanol.
Well, absolutely. And a lot of people don't realize that ethanol is it's not just a blending. You got farmers in the field harvesting the corn. You got to transport that corn. And you got to process that corn. All that machinery runs off of gasoline. Yeah. So even the people that are being subsidized to grow the corn that goes to the government to create the ethanol are killing their equipment with ethanol in it.
I think I actually saw a number somewhere where it takes about 3 gallons of gasoline for every 4 gallons of ethanol created.
That I thought that was a little backwards. I thought it was 4 gallons of gas to every 3 gallons of ethanol.
Yeah, I could have it flipped around. I don't have it in front of me.
I don't either, but yeah, either way, it's still not a good number. Really, you're going to save 1 gallon at the cost of 3?
And get worse gas mileage and tear up your engine. So
Right. So, really, the trade-off is really bad. We have to stop this. It's hurting us bigly.
It's a huge problem. It's huge, I tell you.
It's huge. Yes, it is.
There have been so many beautiful women beautiful Mexicans through my wife's door. I'm going to build a wall. It'll be huge.
It'll be huge, and we're going to get Vicente Fox to pay for it. Yeah, sure we are. Sure we are.
Dude, there was a story that came out while I was at CPAC around that same time. And it was, the New York Times saying, they have Donald Trump off the record saying that don't believe a damn thing I'm saying because I'm just telling the people what they want to hear. And then he's all coming out going, well, I don't want them to violate my right to have private conversations with them. Do you want your rights as a politician violated because somebody has something that you told them off the record? I'm thinking, if you're not willing to let them release that tape, that tells me that you're a lying prick.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, well, who am I?
Yeah, well, you're like me. You're a nobody.
Yeah, well, at least I'm a nobody that's been to CPAC now.
That's right. CPAC had to be infinitely better than Oklahoma City back in May, yes?
Dude, let's just say that you could have fit like 12 of the radio rows that you and I were in the single broadcast row at CPAC.
Oh, man. Yeah, I've got to get there next time.
We actually may have found a way to make it more economically feasible for everybody. I was actually going to shoot an email out about that over the next couple of weeks because we do want to start making it an annual event, and we want as many people that want to come. So we have found somewhere where as long as, this is all, of course, subject to change, but we found a hotel that's not too far from the one that the convention was at this year where everybody could stay for a fraction of what I wound up paying, because I paid way too much money for that room. I mean, it was awesome to be at the Gaylord because there was all kinds of people that we ran into, but at the same time, I'm just like, yeah, I'm thinking I'd rather save $300-400.
I could understand that.
But so yeah, I'll be putting together an email over the next couple of weeks probably, because now that the station has been credentialed, there's no reason why at this point we can't really get to pretty much anything, because CPAC is the biggest one around. So now that we've been credentialed there, it should be easy to get anywhere.
Sounds like a winner to me. Well, look, hey, I always pay attention to the clock pretty good. We're at the bottom of the hour, I see. So how about we pay the bills real quick, and when we come back, we get to talk about, and this is a good one, Obama talking about how his economic policies are really working for this country.
All right, well, I'll cue up the break, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Ain't that America? You and me. Ain't that America? Something to see, baby. Ain't that America? Home of the free, yeah.
We will never fully understand what we've asked of our military service members or their families, asking them to put themselves in harm's way, to endure it all. But we do understand that it's our turn, our duty, to keep them secure for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project long-term support programs help our most severely ill or injured veterans live independently, at no cost, for life, so that they might stand at ease. Join us at findwwp.org.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.
All right, guys, we're ready for our Four Seasons sunroom, and Daddy's gonna get a rec room with refreshments.
Oh no, we'll be sleeping under the stars.
Mom, what about the one with, the fun?
Nice try, little bro. It's a gym. My gym.
Hey, Grandma's getting her Four Seasons garden room. Weather tight and still like being outdoors.
Maybe a living room. Oh no, wait, a family hub.
Yeah! No matter what the budget, the season, or the climate, Four Seasons sunrooms let you and your family enjoy the outdoors inside. Call now to receive your free, no-obligation brochure from the premier manufacturer of sunrooms since 1975.
More reasons for Four Seasons now.
To find out more, call toll-free 800-928-7007. That's 800-928-7007. Call 800-928-7007 today.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program, America Off the Rail. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back. Yeah, there's that, and we'll get one for Rick since he's sitting in with us tonight.
Woohoo!
So anyway, right before the break, we kind of I kind of teased it real quick. I've got this nice article here. It's just a short little piece, but we've got picture this, if you will. Do my best Rod Serling here. A smiling Vice President Joe Biden sitting beside Barack Obama, who gave a speech at the White House today declaring that the facts don't lie and that the American economy is pretty darn good right now. Which leaves me scratching my freaking head, wondering what the hell is he looking at that's telling him this? The president took credit for what he says is the excellent state of the economy, attributing it to his plans. Obama said, quote, "The fact of the matter is that the plans that we have put in place to grow the economy have worked." End quote. So, geez, what do you say? I mean, he's had 1 month now where the actual job projection or job creation outpaced the projection, and only because they shot the projection so low. But I'll still give credit here. It was a good clip. It wasn't great. It was good. 242,000 jobs created last month. We now have unemployment by the newfangled
Common Core statistics.
Thank you. Perfect. 2 months in a row with the new Common Core statistical unemployment rate below 5%. Why do we say it's Common Core? Because it's for lack of a better term. Over the past 3 months, they say the workforce has grown by 1.5 million people, and that's progress. Well, let's just back up a second here. Let's just back up one quick second here. Just by attrition in the last 3 months, how many people have gone from 17 years old to 18 years old in this country? What do you think that number is? What do you think the number is?
More than the total number of jobs created, for sure.
Actually, it was more than the total number of jobs created. It's actually almost the same number of people that the workforce number has increased by. So when you net one against the other, we actually lost jobs still. But hey, his policies are working fantastically. They're hugely, bigly working.
I think you mean fantabulously.
Whatever, darling. Melania will say it for us.
I mean, think about it, dude. Lowest labor participation rate in 40 years, and he's all talking about how great his policies are. More families on food stamps now than there have ever been.
Yep.
We have the fact that the only reason the unemployment numbers look as good as they do is because they've stopped tallying the chronically under or unemployed.
Yep.
It's all a numbers game. It's a shell game, every bit of it.
There are still 94.6 million people out of the labor force in this country. That number hasn't budged in a year. So this whitewash job from the White House, it doesn't work. It doesn't pan. The dog doesn't hunt. Wherever you're from, whatever the saying is, it's crap.
So what's the mean population right now in the U.S.?
Roughly it's 315 million.
So we have 96, how many unaccounted for?
94.6 million outside of the labor force.
Wow.
Yeah. Now that, when I say outside of the labor force, that does not count minor children. Those are adults of working age. So think about that.
The real unemployment rate, if you look at that number and just do the mean math, is what? Almost 20-some-odd%?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, it's closer to 25, 28%.
Wow.
Yeah.
Common core math, ladies and gentlemen, making you feel good when you shouldn't.
That's right. So think about this. Let's just pin a number on it. We'll say, just for the sake of argument, we'll say 25%. We'll go on the low end. Okay? We'll go on the low end, and we'll say that the real unemployment rate is 25%, and Obama is touting 4.9.
So that basically is 20% of the labor, or the people not currently in the labor force of adult working age that are completely left unaccounted for. Lovely.
Exactly right. Exactly right.
Nice. You got to. I mean, you can't really just fault Obama. I mean, they've been skewing these numbers now for a while.
Oh, absolutely. It goes
he's done
back.
it on steroids.
It goes back. Matter of fact, I'm not even sure that it didn't happen even before Bill Clinton's time in office. With Papa Bush, I can't swear to that. I was just a young lad then, so I didn't pay as close attention to this stuff. But I don't know when the numbers actually made the big change. But I do know that in Obama's administration, they were changed again so that unemployment would seem to be lower than it really was, which is not a good thing considering it was already artificially low.
Well, you know what they say, perception is reality. The administrations over the last few decades have taken that to a whole new art form when it comes to things like actual numbers, because I mean, think about it. We live in a world now where our entire economy is based on how much money can people spend and how much money will they spend. If everybody really knew the fact that 25% of the people that in this country right now are not working, not by choice, but because they can't, then the last thing anybody would be doing right now is spending money.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I understand the justification of it, but what I don't or what they're doing, based on the fact that at some point somebody had the grand idea that we should basically become the money changer for the entire world instead of having any type of industry located here. That's been one of my biggest problems. That and the fact that at some point somebody along the way decided that we needed to follow the same rules of monopoly when it comes to how we treat our money. Oh, we're out here. We're just going to print up some more.
That's right. So
why, if it's okay for the government to do that, why can't I? And be like, hey, honey, we got this $400 bill. Hang on, we'll just fire up the laser jet here. Yeah, we'll pay that real quick. I mean, if they can do it, why can't I?
Yeah, shouldn't we be able to plant the same magical trees that grow the money?
Well, you would think it would only be fair. I mean, these people are supposed to be the ones that work for us, not the other way around.
Well, yeah, but maybe if Bernie gets in office, everybody can get a money tree.
Hey, there's a thought. Maybe I will vote for that little Jewish bastard after all.
Were you in the room the other night when somebody made the comment about, oh God, what was it? Hillary said, vote for me basically because I have a vagina. Trump said, vote for me because I have a big penis. And Bernie said, everybody gets a free penis.
No, I didn't see that.
Oh, God, it was hilarious. I wish I could remember how the whole thing went, but it was so funny. Free penis for everybody.
Bernie's Jewish. He might need too.
It had to be somebody like Bill or Dan or somebody like that. But anyway, great guys. If you're out there on Twitter and you're not following what's Dan at 1911 or G1911, and Bill is banned collectivism. God, you guys got to follow these people. They're really, seriously, you just need to go to my Twitter page. That's at TCC_Grouchy. And you need to hit following up at the top of the page and
just run the list.
Really, yeah, just download the whole list. Because I promise you, if I'm following them, they have said something brilliant to make that happen. Because I don't just follow everybody out there.
I think I might be the exception that proves the rule.
No. You said something brilliant. We just can't remember when it happened.
Oh, that's what it is. Okay. Yeah, stupid Alzheimer's. I don't know. I'll remember it someday, and then I'll be brilliant again.
Wait a minute. Who are you?
Now you sound like my wife.
I just did playing off the Alzheimer's thing.
Yeah, I know. But that's what I'm saying. Now you sound like my wife.
Gotcha. Wow. Yeah, we're spinning hard here. We really are. So anyway, Obama kept on with his speech, blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. My policies have worked, and everybody needs to get off their soapbox talking about how bad things are in the U.S. and blah, 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 blah. Give me trillions of more dollars to spend, and I'll really get this thing humming before I'm done. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, same crap as always.
The guy that's already spent more money than every other president before him combined just wants just a little more.
Yes, just a little more. And of course, it's not enough that the government is actually taking in record tax revenues, last year and even so far this year. That's not enough. He still wants more. He just wants more. But anyway, let's talk about what didn't make Obama happy. And that would be Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. And what did he do? Here's what he did. He basically canceled a trip to D.C. with a meet and greet with Obama. And the White House has been classified as, quote unquote, surprised and bristled at Netanyahu's abrupt cancellation of his trip to D.C. Now, does this sound a little bit familiar, folks? Does it sound like how Obama kept putting off going to Israel and kept putting it off and kept putting it off, and he wouldn't even call Bibi, and for the longest time there was just like nothing between these two. And then it was, well, we didn't want to seem like we were interfering in the Israeli elections. And guess what Bibi busted back with? He didn't want to seem like he was trying to influence the elections here in the United States.
Whoopsie.
He threw it right back at him. And, of course, when Bibi throws something back at you, it's not just like a beach ball coming at you. It's more like a frozen cantaloupe. It's going to leave a mark. And apparently it has. And the mark has hit Obama's backside, and he is red. Ned Price, spokesman for the National Security Council at the White House, said, "We were looking forward to hosting this bilateral meeting." I think somebody taught Ned a new word because he used it, but he used it wrong. And he says, "We were surprised to first learn via media reports that the Prime Minister, rather than accept our invitation, opted to cancel his visit. The unusually pointed pushback from the White House. Is it really unusually pointed? When the administration doesn't get its way, they're always quite pointed in their pushback. Don't you think, Rick?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Look what happened when he didn't get his way on gun control with Congress. That was pretty pointed pushback.
You think? Let's not forget the whole amnesty by pen and by phone.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he didn't get what he wanted from Congress. Come on. When Saturday Night Live calls you out for crossing a line, you've crossed a big freaking line.
Yeah, exactly. So, this is just the latest signal of ongoing tensions between this White House administration and the U.S.'s oldest and only Middle Eastern ally in Israel. And look, you can call it politics all day long. You can say what you want to about the policies between these two men. Let me tell you something right now. They do not like each other. Benjamin Netanyahu has absolutely zero respect for Barack Obama, and with damn good reason. I have zero respect for Barack Obama. And it seems that even as the President of the United States, that I should be able to find something redeeming about him to say. And really, the only redeeming thing that I have to say about Barack Obama is that his time is getting short. He's almost done. That's really as good as something as I can say about him.
I don't know. I've seen some of his pictures. He fills out the mom jeans rather nicely.
Yes, well, you know, when you hike them up to your nipples, you know, look, this guy, he's obviously going to go somewhere and he's going to open a powerhouse gym. You've seen the workout tapes. Barack Obama is a beast in the weight room. Yeah, I'm being a little facetious here. Sarcasm font doesn't translate well to radio waves. I understand that, but you know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, for God's sake, please jump on YouTube or get on the internet somewhere and look up the pictures of Barack Obama working out. You'll see what I'm making fun of here. But this flare-up between he and Netanyahu comes just days before Biden was set to meet with Netanyahu on a visit to Jerusalem. Netanyahu's office declined to comment. The White House disputed reports in the Israeli media that said Netanyahu canceled the trip after the White House had been unable to find a date for a meeting that worked with Obama's schedule. Price said that those suggestions were false. But again, this isn't the first time that Obama has been caught off guard by Netanyahu's travel plans. Last year, the White House accused Netanyahu of a breach of longstanding diplomatic protocol when he announced plans to speak to a joint session of Congress without consulting or notifying the president. Netanyahu used that speech to implore U.S. lawmakers to reject the Iran nuclear deal, which Israel sees as emboldening its arch enemy. And I think he's absolutely spot on about that. And I think that what Obama and John Kerry did with Iran is not only careless, but I do believe it qualifies as criminal. Now, you may have a different opinion, and you're certainly entitled to that. But anyway, that's the way I see it. Anyway, back to the homeland. We've got some fun going on out west. Has to do with the Bureau of Land Management. You know, the fine folks that brought in all the artillery and the helicopters and the this and the that out at the Bundy Ranch. So 14 more people have been charged in connection with a high-profile 2014 standoff over cattle grazing rights between armed protesters and federal agents at the Nevada ranch of Cliven Bundy. One of the newly charged defendants, a New Hampshire resident and former United States Marine, Jerry DeLemus, D-E-L-E-M-U-S. I don't know. I'd go with DeLemus. Huh? What's that?
I'd go with DeLemus. It sounds about right.
DeLemus. Yeah, I think he's a little Delane too. But this guy,
double entendre. What can I say?
Yeah, I'm looking here to see if we can find a city in New Hampshire, because we happen to know somebody in New Hampshire. So maybe we could get some more information from this person. But this guy is a New Hampshire resident and former U.S. Marine. He is also the co-chairman of, get this, Veterans for Trump, a group that backs the Republican presidential candidate. So why is this significant? Well, DeLamus made headlines in January when he traveled to the remote Eastern Oregon wildlife refuge out there, Malheur National Wildlife Refuge, however the hell you say that. Why can't they have normal names? To meet with protesters who occupied that little refuge out there. DeLamus said at the time that he was acting on his own and not as a representative of the Trump campaign. Well, he wouldn't have been a representative of the Trump campaign anyway. He's just a group that supports Trump's campaign. But stick with me here, because I'm going to make my point here in a minute. A total of 19 people have now been indicted in this case, including Cliven Bundy, who remains jailed in Oregon without bond because he's considered a flight risk. Yeah, no message there, right? The defendants face charges including assault on a federal agent, threatening a law enforcement officer, conspiracy, and firearms violations. This investigation began the day after the assault against federal law enforcement officers and continues to this day, said Daniel Bajan, U.S. Attorney for Nevada. 12 of the newly indicted defendants were arrested on Thursday. Prosecutors said 2 others, Brian Cavalier and Blaine Cooper, were already in custody in connection with the Malheur wildlife refugee occupation. Bundy's ranch in Bunkerville, Nevada was the site of the standoff. He became a symbol of defiance for U.S. conservatives. Really? They had to say that? U.S. conservatives? Particularly in the Tea Party movement. Wow, boy, they're really just bussing everybody here, aren't they? For confronting the Federal Bureau of Land Management, an agency of the U.S. Interior Department. His sons Ammon and Ryan Bundy helped lead the armed occupation of the Malheur Refuge in Oregon. The dispute between Bundy and the U.S. government dates back to 1993 when the rancher stopped paying monthly fees to the BLM that they charge ranchers to allow their cattle to roam on federal range lands, saying Bundy owed more than $1 million in grazing fees and had ignored court orders to remove his cattle from public land. The BLM sent armed rangers to Bundy's ranch in April to round up his cattle. Has anybody come across the second hypocritical point that I'm about to make? Keep it to yourself. Don't blurt the answers out. We'll get there in just a second. Anti-government group, guns rights activists, and right-wing militia members rallied to Bundy's defense. Following a brief arms standoff, the government was back down, canceled its roundup, and released the cattle it had seized. That's not altogether true either. There were several head of cattle that were slaughtered. Saw the pictures. So anyway, we got this guy DeLamus from New Hampshire that traveled out to Oregon and to Nevada to show support for the Bundys. And this guy is co-chair of Veterans for Trump. And what I find so humorous about this, and I'm sure Rick has already caught on to it, haven't you, Rick?
Actually, I've been trying to deal with some latency, so I've only been half paying attention. I do apologize.
That is okay. So Rick has not caught on to it. So anyway, this guy that is campaigning for Trump and is co-chairman of Veterans for Trump that backed Cliven Bundy and backed Ammon Bundy on the siege of the Malheur wildlife refugee, he's supporting an eminent domain guy, a guy that doesn't believe in private land ownership rights. So, what the hell is this guy thinking? I don't know.
I'm telling you, it's the anger.
It really is. I mean, how do you support somebody that would just take your land from you and you're making all these stands in the name of private property ownership rights? I don't get it. The other point that I wanted to make in this article is that the government spent, now you're going to love this part. This is great. They said Bundy owed more than $1 million in grazing fees. Now, when they sent the government agents to, Bunkerville, Nevada, where Bundy's ranch is, and they mobilized all the helicopters and the trucks for the cattle and the people and the weaponry and all that stuff like that. Guess how much money the government spent trying to recover this $1 million? They spent $3.5 million to get one, and they still hadn't got the one. Why do we not go after people that owe $4 million in back taxes that way? Could it be because Al Sharpton has the president's ear and heart, and that they don't care to make waves for Al Sharpton, but they care to make waves for an old man rancher out in Nevada? Now, look, don't get me wrong. I'm not defending Bundy here. Okay, he made his stupidity, and he did things that were against the law, and there are ways to have your recourse without breaking the law. I don't advocate breaking laws at all. But this is just an example of selective prosecution by this White House administration. It's just an example of more waste, that they would spend 3.5 times what was owed them to go get it and still come away empty-handed. So now, not only are they still the $1 million plus from Bundy in the hole, they're $3.5 million more in the hole for having gone out there and coming away empty-handed. I don't know. Maybe it's me. I just find that foolish as all hell. Be that as it may, it is what it is. And that also takes us to it is what it is time-wise. We are at the top of the hour. It is time for me to back away from the microphone and give you your ears back. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Rick, for sitting in with me and offering some viewpoints. I appreciate it tremendously, sir.
No problem.
And always a pleasure having you around and involved in the show. You're always involved in the show, but usually from behind the scenes. People, if you don't know it, he produces me just about every week. Well, he does produce me every week. I'm on live. So
pay no attention to the man behind the curtain.
Yes, hats off to the genius that makes K98 all possible here. You know, that's Rowdy Rick Robinson. So if you see him on the street, buy him a cup of coffee, because he could really use it most of the time anyway.
Sometimes coffee's not even strong enough.
Yeah, well, we can. There are other things, but we don't need to go there on the air. Anyway,
we went there enough in DC, so no, we don't need to go there in the air.
That's right. So you're on in 2 hours, right? Live?
Yes, sir.
You are going live in 2 hours, right back here on K98. What are we buffering between my show and yours now?
Nothing really. There's 2 hours of empty space that I'm currently trying to fill.
Okay, so we do have some downtime. We hate that because we do want to keep your attention span here. So, but in doing so, now in fairness, we don't want to just plug anything in, because we do believe in quality airtime. We don't believe just in occupying airtime. If we were going to do that, I could play the kazoo for you for 2 hours. That's not how we work.
You could, but I wouldn't produce that. So,
well, I don't need you to produce that. I just need you to turn the server on and walk away.
Good point.
What are you going to produce with kazoo? So anyway, that's the show for tonight, folks. If you liked it, tell your friends. If your friends like it, you probably need new friends. But they and you, as always, will be welcome here on the Conservative Curmudgeon Show every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on K98. Come back in 2 hours for the rowdy one. You won't regret it. Stay up late. It'll be worthwhile. I promise you. Peace.
We believe in the American way.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. And we'll see you next week.
Free, we're Americans. Red, white, and blue is our way of life. We never back down. from a challenge or a fight. Nature provides, God gives the rights. We're Americans.
The staff of K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network is proud to announce that our very own Rowdy Rick Robinson has been selected as one of the top conservative talk show hosts in the nation for his program America Off the Rail. Again, congratulations to Rowdy Rick Robinson for a job well done and another reason to stay connected to K98 Talk and the Spark Radio Network.
If you want to work until you keel over, have less of everything in retirement, or give back more of your hard-earned money to the stock market again, then just ignore me. But if you'd like to protect the money you save, receive a steady, predictable retirement income, and enjoy financial security for as long as you live, then listen to this. You can download a free report that reveals the wealth-building secrets Wall Street and the banks don't want you to know. You'll learn how you can get guaranteed growth, safety, and real prosperity without risking your money in the Wall Street casino, and how to get the money you need when you need it, simply by asking for it. This is the best way to have a 100% secure retirement, and know your money will last as long as you do. To learn more about this method, and to get your free report, go to 29security.com. That's the number 29security.com. 29security.com. Go to 29security.com.